Okay, it looks like we're live and a little bit more than 2 minutes, 2 minutes early. And let me see if I can pull this up on my trusty iPad and make sure that everything is copacetic. And it takes a few seconds for it to show up on the iPad. There it is. It looks like we're live and okay, and we are going to talk about the new Rolexes. The new Rolexes. We're going to talk about them, and let me just pull up the Rolex, the official Rolex website. Oh, but before I do that, there's that watch we were looking at as a potential for the lovely Brianna. And by the way, I'm wearing a shirt with purple in it. Purple in it. The lovely Brie can relate to that. And Rolex. Bring up the Rolex website. And there she blows. And we talked briefly about this yesterday, but they did the official release after my show wrapped, right at the wrapping of my show. They waited for my show to wrap before they did the official release. And so here it is. Oh, we're in Spanish? What is going on here? What are they doing to me? How do I get to English? Bree, how do I get to English? Menu. Huh. This is going to be a show for our international audiences. Nouveau Submariner. Okay. Why would they be showing me this in let me close this out. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. I don't know that it's going to work, but let's try it again. Rolex.com. And it's doing the same thing. Oh, here we go. Google Translate. I want English. English. New Submariner. So I had to use Google Translate in order to get it in English. This is absolutely ridiculous. And you guys wonder why I moved to Grand Seiko. You guys wonder. Okay, so let's go here and let's look at the new watches, the new Submariners. Let's take an official look. And let's look at all the models. Then we can all chime in as to what we think. Okay, so the 41 mil, I guess they're all 41 mil. Do they no longer make a 40 mil? I guess we're assuming they no longer make the 40. So we've got the Submariner, and we've got the Submariner Date. And the Submariner Date is available with a green bezel, and it looks like a blue bezel, and of course a black bezel. And they have a Submariner Date in steel and gold. Thank goodness it's yellow gold. At least they learned something from watching this channel. And then we've got, again, the Submariner Date just in steel with black bezel. And then the most stunning piece of all, actually, we've got two stunning pieces here. We've got the Submariner Date bluesy, right, in yellow gold, and a black dial and black bezel in yellow gold. Good move making those both in yellow gold. Now, I think it's unfortunate that they're still staying with a super case. Yes, it looks like they may have narrowed the lugs a little bit, but they still have the slab sides, the sharp edges, so on and so forth. They didn't go back to the classic stunning case designs of the past, and I'll show you an example of that here in a little while. But and here we have a steel and gold Submariner with yellow gold. All right, down there. Now, there were a couple of other models that they released. They released, I think, a new, I think they released new Oyster Perpetuals. See if I can find the Oyster Perpetuals. Give me a second here. Menu. Do a time check with a decent watch while I'm doing this. Okay, so there's new Datejust, but nothing really that new there, so I won't bother with that. New Oyster Perpetual. All right, let's take a look at that. Take a look at the new Oyster Perpetual. And again, pretty sharp sides there, pretty sharp case, not as flowing as the case on, for example, a Yachtmaster, right? So I would, you know, I'm not real happy about that, but okay, so here we go. Here's the Oyster Perpetual, and they've got some pretty wild dial colors for the 36. Now the 41 I just think is too big a watch for that type of watch, for like an all-arounder, if you will. I think that's just too big for most people. Now if you have a huge wrist, okay, go for it, but for most people I think that's too big a watch. That's one of the reasons why I sold my Snowflake. It was 41 mils, and it was just too big for an all-arounder, I think, and too thick. Now, these are going to be thinner, of course, than that watch was. Now, here's the new colors, new dial colors. I could take or leave them. I probably would go with something more, you know, like this dial over here, or the black, one of these two, probably what I would go for as far as the dial color. But again, 41 I think is going to be too big. Too big for that particular style of watch. So, I guess we'll have to give them 2 thumbs down. The whole mess, 2 thumbs down here. Now, let me catch up on the chat. Lance says hello, Craig and all. Bree says hi all. And Stig was in first. Just uploaded a new hoop YouTube video. That was great, Bree. You did a fantastic job. And you're welcome to Skype in if you want to talk about it. But yes, definitely check out that video. She is coming along. She is learning. She is learning. For a new hooper, that was fantastic. And let's see. And Bree says, hi, Lance and Stig. Most of the new Rolexes are meh, says Eduardo. And hey, Craig, it looks like Rolex second hand has shot up even more in price now. Oh, well, you know, more. If people want to pay too much money for steel watches, that's okay with me. They can go ahead and do that. But my limit will always be $5,000 for a steel watch, period, full stop. Let's see, Cheetown's in the house. My vote is Tudor Pelagos greater than Submariner. Yeah, I would pass on both. Joey's in the house. I like the new Rolex 41mm Oyster Perpetual better than the 39mm Oyster Perpetual now. 5mm easy link and nice hour markers on the new OP. Yeah, but I think the 5mm is a little bit too much when you're doing that easy link adjustment. I'd like to be able to adjust like 2mm or something. You know, I think 5mm might be too much in most cases. Let me know what you guys think about that. Your mileage may vary, but if it's just a little snug on the wrist and then you go 5 mils, that might be too much. Breeze in the house, menu, the settings on Chrome has settings about language. Yeah, I can look at that, but all these other tabs were fine. I think it's something going on with Rolex. I don't think it's a Chrome thing, because otherwise I think it would affect all the tabs. Let's see. You should show Bree the new Oyster Perpetual line with the new color options. We just did. Hey, Craig, the Dubai X-Pack. There you go. And hello to Bree. And Carlos says hello, Craig and all. And Fisto Bozer says, I'm already bored of all the Rolex talk. Okay. Lugs look better to my eyes, but I would prefer slimmer. Yeah, and the case on the, for example, the Yachtmaster is stunning. Why can't they just do that? What's the problem? Why don't they get it? Kyle's in the house. I like them. I think they did the best they could to keep everybody happy. They aren't as curved as the Yachtmaster, but they slimmed the lugs a lot. They are a major improvement. Do you really think it was a lot? I'd have to see them side by side. Yeah. Okay. So, of course, I'm spoiled with the 231, with the those nice curved, rounded lugs, and the way it curves to the wrist, and I'm just spoiled because they got it right. They did it right. Okay, let's see. Cheetown Craig, I heard the new Submariner 41 is a 1/4 of a millimeter thinner than the Supercase 40 millimeter sub. 1/4 of a millimeter? Okay. Is that tongue in cheek? Carlos is in the house. I like the new Oyster Perpetual colors. Also good that they have included Easy Link clasp on all. Okay. Tim's in the house. The Supercase has it really gone. All they have done is to widen lug from 20 millimeter to 21 millimeter, make strap changes tricky. Okay, that's an interesting point. But who really takes the bracelet off of a sub? You know, really, if you think about it. Cheetown, I don't like the Oyster Perpetual 41 at all. It's way too big for my wrist size. I'm mad Rolex killed off the 39 millimeter and the white dials. There you go. Hi, Craig, and all, says David Williams. Oyster Perpetual new colors, not bad. No more Oyster Perpetual 36 or 39 white dials equals no sale. Okay. Dubai Expat, Craig, you buy the new Submariner. No, I'm not going to buy the new Submariner. That's a full stop no. Carlos is in the house. It seems they discontinued Oyster Perpetual 26 and the new one in smaller size is 28. Okay, so now it is official that they've axed the Oyster Perpetual 26. Let's see. Kyle says it's definitely a lot. Seen them side by side. Oh, do tell. Where did you see the new watch? Where did you see the new watch? I didn't think anybody had them yet. Do tell. Fisto's in the house. Craig, Tudor Black Bay has thinner lugs than Rolex. Maybe you should consider getting one. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Craig's going to get a Tudor. Oh, boy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Eduardo's in the house. The new blue bezel Blackberry is solid white gold. The new blue bezel black dial. I've got Tudor on the brain now. Blackberry is solid white gold. Okay, yeah. Again, I don't see any reason to go that direction. If I'm going to get one of the gold ones, I would get one of those yellow gold stunners. Kyle's in the house. They eliminated the Oyster Perpetual 26. Have to get it for Breeze soon. There you go. Oh, there'll be a lot of them around. There'll be a lot of those around. So, yeah, they seem to be plentiful of all years. All the 6-digit ones. There seems to be a lot of them around. And I think I'm going to wait until we can find somebody that wants to do some dealing with us. Crown and Calibre folks didn't even contact me. I haven't heard anything from them. You know, not even a phone call, right? So obviously they don't want to do any dealing. Let's see here. My friend lucked out on getting an Oyster Perpetual 39 white dial from his Rolex AD in April. Are they really that hard to get? I didn't think they were that hard to get. Eduardo's in the house. They should have made the color Oyster Perpetual dials with enamel instead of lacquer. Okay. Sent an email, says Lance. Blue says, Craig, what are your thoughts on trading the SBGX038 for Tudor Pelagos? You are joking, right? Okay, Fisto Bowser's, in other words, don't do it. Yes, don't ever buy a Tudor under any circumstances. Craig, have you ever been a two-tone fan? Not really. I prefer all gold or all steel. I'm not against the two-tones. I mean, if you have to go that direction, but I'd rather stick with either all gold or all steel, personally. Okay, all right. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention before I check the email. I was watching this video. This is the Bus Grease Monkey. Cool guy. I like his channel. Let me just play a little bit of this.
Kelly's spotting for us on the ladder.
Okay, so that is a Bluebird Wanderlodge, and I guess it's about a 30-year-old unit, and in great shape, down in Texas, and garage kept. I don't know how long this gentleman's had it, but it looks like it's been garage kept since new. And it needed some maintenance, 30 years old. But the Grease Monkey, and there's a series of videos here that he put together of him going through and servicing this thing. And I'll tell you, it rekindled my interest in Wanderlodges again, in Bluebird Wanderlodges again. And I might actually consider a 40-footer in around that vintage, if I could find one just in jumping up and down mint condition like this one here. They are cool bus, and he was able to get a lot of the parts. He replaced the brake drums on it, replaced a lot of seals, and just went through and serviced the whole thing. And all the parts seem to be available and everything. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Bluebird Wanderlodge. So there you go. Talk about a beast of a machine. A beast, I say, a beast. Let's see here. Oh, I got to check the email. Gotta check the email. Let's see here. Okay. Da, 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 da. Yeah, see, even for a ladies' watch, I'm just not that enamored with the diamonds, especially on one that's more a sporty model. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit over the top, and I don't think that Bree should consider a 5-digit watch. I think she should get a 6-digit unit. But that's very interesting, and it's not. I mean, that's obviously a very reasonable price. But yeah, I think she should get a 6-digit piece. That's my thought process on that. Okay. Let's see. They eliminated the Oyster Perpetual 20. Okay, we already read that. Okay, I read that. Okay, I read that. Yeah, the Oyster Perpetual 39 supply dried up this year, and they become harder to get. Okay. White, well, we talked about it a lot on this show, so maybe that's why. David's in the house. White dials were not easy to find. Now going to be tough. Okay. Tim's in the house. I've heard from ex-Rolex salesperson that the pre-ceramic sub will be even more sought after now because of the larger size of the new sub. I've heard from an ex-Rolex salesperson. Okay. What's that person doing now? Because remember, some of these people are a little bit biased. So there's that. Bree, I'm amazed by your new hooping video. Very nice, says Jipu. And Bree says, thank you. And I'm practicing to improve. Yes, you are making a lot of progress, Bree. Keep it up. You're going to be really one of the best, in my opinion. Visto Bowser, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned how Seiko's service center messed up my monster, so I sent it back with a strongly worded letter, and it looks like they're fixing up for free. Oh, okay. Let us do keep us posted. Cheetown's in the house. It's a good thing. I like the Datejust 36 because I'll be able to get one at a good price for the very foreseeable future now that every other Rolex is being sized up for middle-aged ham hock wrists. I hear you, Cheetown. And a lot of the times those big watches look silly on the wrist. Coconuts and Dreams, I have a blue two-tone sub. Should I buy the new one and sell mine? Not if you like yours. I wouldn't. So Bowser, you and Bree should go check out the new 28mm Oyster Perpetuals. We will if they get some in. We're going to visit the AD. We'll see what they have. It's all up to what they have as to what we can look at, right? Okay. Somebody asked me in a comment recently why I'm such a quality hound. Why I always try to seek out the quality stuff, things, gear, equipment, watches, clothing, all these kinds of things. And I don't really know where that came from. Maybe because I was an appraiser for many years. I was a professional appraiser, appraising a lot of antique and collectible cars, things like that. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe because I got heavily into photography and you like to photograph things that are interesting. I even one time was walking down a street and I saw a really cool manhole cover, and a vintage, like 150-year-old manhole cover, and took a photograph of that because it was really interesting, right? So I don't know what the answer to that question is, but somehow I got that way, and now I'm like totally obsessed over quality and interesting things and interesting people as well. So there you go. Let's get caught up here. I sent an email with comparison photos. Okay, it's obvious that the lugs are much more slim. They did way more on the sub than when they updated the Batman to back row. Okay, we'll look at those photos. Which Porsche do you like? I drove I think it was a 1976 930 turbo. No, I think it was a 1979. I drove a 1979 930 turbo when it was new, and that thing was awesome. That thing was awesome. I will tell you, that thing was awesome. I also liked the 928s back in the day, too, like about 1980, around that time frame, 1979-ish. I sold them for a little while at Capital Porsche Audi. They were a blast. The 944 Turbo was also an amazing piece. That was kind of like a sleeper. That was an amazing piece, the 944 Turbo. I drove a 1986 944 Turbo back from Texas one time up here to Maryland, and I drove 1,900 miles in 19 hours flat. That was averaging 100 miles an hour. So there you go. Figure on that one. You have high quality viewers. That is absolutely correct. Quality, not quantity. Coconut Snowing, do you like the coupe 911 or convertible? I know you love cars. I would go for. I've had both. I would go for both. I think they both have their place. But yeah, and some 911 years are better than others. But I like 911s absolutely. Why a quality hound? That's like someone asking why I'm attracted to beautiful women. Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, the quality extends to women as well. I mean, why do you think I hang around with people like Brianna, right? I mean, duh. That should go without saying. Let's see. Because life is too short to be surrounded by garbage. That is a very good point, Cheetown. And actually, a friend of mine many, many years ago told me this. Geez, I was probably 20 years old at the time. And he said, if you always buy quality items, you'll always be surrounded by quality. And that kind of sunk in. That made sense. That made sense. That kind of clicked. So yeah, that's a very, very good point. You know why you like quality, Craig? You only like to buy stuff once and like the feel over cheap and cheap over and over. Good point. That's the similar thing. That's right. You buy a quality piece, like a quality tool, for example. Like when I bought a tool set, I bought Snap-on tools, right? I bought a bunch of Snap-on tools, and I got a good deal on them. And I've had them for years, and every time I use them, I don't use them that often, but when I use them, it's like, man, these are really nice. Why do you like food that tastes good, says Mr. Bowser? Hey, a lot of people buy junk, okay? So it's not that common. A lot of people do buy a lot of junk. Look how many people shop every day at Walmart, right? And just about everything they sell is junk, right? So yeah, that's how that works. Let's see. Who doesn't like buying the best of the best, says Leslie. Well, Leslie is obviously a high-class young lady and very stylish, and she's got her act together. She's going places too, I can tell you that right now. Absolutely. Leon's in the house. All those folks here and on the forums who think that they are going to sell a currently owned Rolex and get a new one are nuts. Those new Rolex models are already spoken for. Good luck, says Leon. Lance is in the house. Craig, what do you think of the Porsche 914? Nah. Yeah, I would just go for the 6-cylinder Porsches, I think. I think is where I would go. I had a 914. I had a 1968. Or is it 912? Maybe that would have been a 912. But anyway, I had a 1968 Porsche that was a 4-cylinder, and it had the plastic rear window. It was a Targa with the plastic rear window, that folded down. And it was a fun little car, but the only reason we bought that is because we got a really good deal on it. So, and it was for resale. There's enough mediocrity and junk in this world. Be different, says Cheatown. Good point. Leon, I know. I have called all my local ADs and haven't gotten anywhere. Kyle in the house. Quality lasts. There you go. Tim's in the house. Kyle, the crown guards are still the same, aren't they? I still prefer the style of my pre-ceramic sub. I hear you. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about this. Quality is greater than quantity, says the lovely Briefit Dance. What type of pillows do you sleep on? What about me, Craig? Am I going places, says Blue. I think so. Now, that's a good question. I don't know who made my pillow, but it's one of those special funny-shaped ones that really works well. Now, my sheets, I just got some new sheets that are linen, 100% linen. A buddy of mine told me about them, and I got them, and they're pretty cool. I always have high-quality sheets, high-quality mattress, all that kind of stuff. Why not? Okay, so... all right, what was I going to do here before I forget? Oh, let me show the picture of the red sub. Red sub time. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the case. When I'm talking about the case. Let's see how we can do this. Media. Okay, here we go. And... I'm still trying to learn how to use this thing. Wait, it should be here. Switcher. Okay, media player. Here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, let me find the red sub. Here we go. Red sub, no date. Let's try this. Okay, there we go. Oh, no, that's not the red sub. That is a super case sub. So see the lugs on that? Okay, now let's show the red sub. Look at that. See how they're rounded? It's not just the width. See how they're rounded? Okay. Now let's look at the where we can see a little bit of the side view. See that? See how they're softer? They've got like rounded edges. It just seemed like to me that it was a lot more elegant back in the day. Now imagine that watch there with a flat crystal. Right? It would be nice and trim as well. The only reason that watch is kind of thick is because of that funky crystal. Now, that was a big improvement when they went to the sapphire crystals, the flat across sapphire crystals. Imagine that watch modernized with the flat crystal and with the modern bracelet and everything and the modern movement and all that. Can you imagine how well that watch would sell? Can anybody imagine how well that watch would sell? So, try this back again. There we go. Minute late. Oh, let's put Bree's thing up on here. What do you say? There we go. Put Bree's logo on there. BreeFitDance.com. This show is brought to you in part by BreeFitDance.com. BreeFitDance.com. Put her little bug up there. How do you like that? Let me know what you think about the lovely Brianna's bug in the upper right-hand corner. Let's see. The sub actually looks good depending on the size of the wrist. Okay. Okay. And what is your relationship to Bree, Craig? Are you just friends and met online or in the neighborhood? We met in person. we met in person, and she's a good friend of mine, and I'm helping her out, and she helps me with some business things, and yeah, there you go. And I generally don't talk about my personal relationships on the broadcasts. So, and I just don't think that's a good idea for people to do that sort of thing. But yes, she is a friend, and I'm helping her out when I can, and she's helping out with some of my business ventures as well. Craig, would you trade your 231 for a new Sea Dweller? No, I would not. Nope. 231's way too comfortable on wrist, way too accurate. The titanium is what really makes that watch. That thing is just super comfortable on wrist, super legible. I mean, it's hard to beat that watch, and that watch kind of poops all over anything that Rolex sells. They just don't sell anything that can even touch that watch. From a standpoint of quality, overall quality, from a standpoint of comfort on wrist, the bracelet is amazing, much more attractive than the bracelet that's on the Sub. The clasp is much more functional. Of course, the spring drive is in a league of its own. So yeah, I don't think that 231 is going to be traded for anything that Rolex sells anytime soon. Let's see here. Cheetown says, I think for the right wrist size, the new Sub is a stunner, but my 6.5-inch wrist, probably not. There you go. I would much rather get the GMT. I'd much rather get a Batgirl or a Pepsi than any of the Subs. And again, I went from Sub to GMT years ago because, I mean, they were thinner on the wrist. You could get them with a Jubilee. I mean, there's just all the reasons in the world to just go with the GMT and call it a day, I think. Great if you can show the comparison. Okay, yeah, let me pull up that comparison. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment. Look at the aforementioned 231 here. And yes, we are okay. New Sub. I forgot to show this. I'm sorry about that, but here we go. All right, so so on the left is the new Sub, and you can see the lugs. Yeah, they look a little narrower, but again, the secondary problem I have is the sharp edges. It's still the same basic sharp edges, so it just, I don't know. I just don't think they went far enough with the redesign. I think it was a lazy redesign, in my opinion. A lazy redesign. And part of the super case was they put these thick shoulders on either side of the crown guards. Again, they didn't need to do that. That's ridiculous. Why do they need to be that thick? A smaller one would give just as much protection and just not look goofy. They just goofied it up. They made it look, they cheapened it. I think it made it look cheaper. Okay. All right, let's see what we've got here on additional videos. I mean, videos on additional. So Cheetown sent this. I guess that's the same picture. Yeah, and you can definitely see they are narrower. They are narrower, but again, just not enough. Not enough. They should have made those lugs thinner. They should have gotten away from the whole damn supercase idea. Not baby steps away from it. Just get away from that whole failed supercase experiment and just go back to the real case. Go back to the case the way it was. Some genius designed that case many years ago. He didn't screw up. He did a great freaking job. Why in the hell would you second guess him? Some idiot decided to second guess the gentleman who designed the original, And there is a Datejust, 6-digit, 26 millimeter with a Jubilee for $16,799. Now that is all the money. That is all the money. Let's go ahead and add it to our watch list, though. Anyway, what the hell? Well, maybe a sponsor will want to buy that for the lovely Lady Brianna. Absolutely. If somebody wants to sponsor the channel and wants to get that for the lovely Lady Bree, that is a possibility there. Let's see. I'm a fan of the Bree Bug. Bree says it looks cool. Okay. 231 poops all over Rolex, says Blue. There you go. He calls it the way he sees it. I don't blame him. Life's too short to bandy about and mince words, right? Cheatown's in the house. It's only a matter of time before Rolex makes the GMT Master 2 41 millimeter and the Pepsi bubble gets worse. There you go. Kyle's in the house. I'm trying to find that, Tim. It is slight, but there is a difference. Okay. Not sure what we're talking about there, but that's okay. Craig, when are you getting rid of that Prius? It's time. Hey, my Prius is great. It runs great. I have no plans of getting rid of that car unless it gives trouble. If it gives trouble, it'll be gone. I don't put up with failures. I don't put up with failures, folks. Just like that, it would be gone. But so far, it's been 100% bulletproof, reliable, and I reward reliability with what do you call it? What do you call it when you're faithful? Darn, can't remember the word. Anyway, I reward reliability. Let's see. Craig, send your email. Tudor versus Rolex lugs for you to judge. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Craig, what do you think of all these new Oyster Perpetual colorways? I take or leave them. I'm not a big fan of the funky looking colors. The new sub looks like the new Porsche 911, bigger, fatter, and tackier than the classic ones. There you go. Cheat down in the house, calling it the way he sees it. Kyle's in the house. That is way, way more than they did on the GMT update. Gotcha. Okay. G-Poo. I like the light. Well, one thing about the GMT update is the Jubilee bracelet helps also. It's an optical illusion, I think, but for some reason the Jubilee bracelet kind of distracts from the ugly case some, and it makes the whole package look better, I think. That's kind of my take on that whole thing. Let's see. I like the light blue 36 mil. I got you. That is good. 26 is too small, says Joey. Not for somebody like Bree. Kyle's in the house. If you compare a Batman and a Batgirl, the difference is really hard to tell. The new sub is clearly slimmer than the outgoing model. Yeah, I hear you. But like I said, I think the Jubilee helps a lot in that case. Let's see. Tim's in the house. That's great, Kyle. Cheers. Are you able to compare it with a pre-ceramic sub? If each of the 45 viewers would donate $350, you can get that watch today. That's interesting. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. But if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk too. That's what my old Marine Corps buddy used to say. He says if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Okay, Rolex versus Tudor lugs. Let's take a look at this. Everybody always wants to get Tudors into the game. Okay. Obviously, I like the lugs on the Tudor better, but the problem is they screwed up the Tudor with an ugly dial with that funky-looking hour hand and the funky-looking thing on the second hand, that square instead of a round dot. See, they screwed it up on purpose so that you'd want to buy of course, so you'd want to buy the Rolex, right? So they screw up the Tudor. So, yeah. Of course the lugs are better. That's exactly the way the lugs should be on the Rolex. What the duh? I mean, the hell? Jeez. I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't know. I've tried to help these people. These people don't listen. I told them to buy Bitcoin, years ago when it was less than $1,000. I was telling people publicly to buy Bitcoin, right? And I didn't say a word when it was $30 because I wasn't sure about it then. But years later, when it was up around $1,000 and it really kind of had established itself, I told people, I said, hey, you might want to get yourself one or two, right? They didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to me when I told them on this channel live to buy it at $4,000 when it was $4,000. They didn't listen to me. It's about $12,000 today. What the hell? I can't. There's nothing I can do if the people don't listen. Okay. All I can do is tell them exactly what to do and when to do it. And if they don't listen, that's not my problem. So, just blowing off a little steam. Sorry about that, folks. That was a little bit rude, but I get a little bit, I don't know, get a little bit confused. I don't know what's going on half the time. Cheatown's in the house. It's like Rolex wants to make its dive watches look brutal, slab-sided, and inelegant when there was no need for them to do that. And it doesn't lend to comfort. When you bend your wrist and things like this, a rounded edge, a softer edge, is more comfortable on the wrist. These are wrist watches. These are not box watches. If it's in the box, I understand. It looks kind of cool to be all slab-sided and all that stuff. And for macro shots and forums and all that, it looks kind of cool, right? But it ain't more comfortable on the wrist. It ain't more comfortable on the wrist. And I kind of wear my watches. So what do you think? Craig, what are your thoughts on an Omega Seamaster 300 meter versus the Submariner? I didn't like the GS divers as they are too tubby. Sub is impossible to find anywhere. I like some of the Seamasters. I would go and look at them, look close at the different models, and pick the one that you really like. But yeah, I think the Seamasters are a very good competitive option to a Rolex Sub. I think so. Rolex seems to make the best watch. Did you try the 231 though? Did you really try that watch? Because it's in a class all by itself. Don't try the steel ones. Try the 231 titanium stunner. That's what I would do. Let's see. Rolex seems to make the best watches they aren't willing to sell. I don't know what you mean by that. Rolex seems to make the best watches they aren't willing to sell. Not sure exactly what you're saying there. Hans is in the house. Captain Ship. There you go. Kyle says, I can't find that source, Tim. I'm still looking, though. Okay. Captain, my captain, Hans. Let's see. And Carlos says hello to Hans. Okay. Kyle says, they could have done more on the sub, but they did more than I expected. They always could do more. There you go, Kyle in the house. Bloody hell, he's still raging on about Bitcoin, Hans in the house. Who is Sephrin? The Tudor looks better from the lugs to the hands. He'll everything about, okay. That's what he says to the police, Hans. I don't understand what that all means. I get a bit confused. Oh, okay. Right. Let's see here. Mr. Gumby, let's face it, if someone came up to you in the street with a basic sub, how many would know if it was the new sub or the old sub without a direct side-by-side comparison? You're right. I don't think that many would know because the thing that is really noticeable is the slab sides and everything and the big crown guards and all that denote a super case, right? Just the lugs being a little bit narrower, I don't think that's enough for it to really look that much different. I agree with that statement. You'd have to really know what you're looking at to know, I think, that it's any different. Even that it's 41 mil. I don't think that many people would notice the difference between 40 and 41 mil. Tim's in the house. Craig, if they went back to the original design, that would be an admission that it made a mistake in the first place. Good point, Tim. But, hey, a lot of people do retro stuff. I mean, look at these muscle cars. Look at the new Mustangs. Look at the Chargers, the Challengers, all these things, all these retro-looking muscle cars that they've come out with, right? They've been selling great. They were very successful, some of them. People like that kind of stuff, nostalgia, right? I think it would be cool. They could come back with a special red sub model using that case and everything like I just showed you. Let's go back to that. Let's see if we can get that. Give me a second here. See, they could come back with a special nostalgia model, red sub, right? And with all the modern features, you know, the modern dial, the modern bezel, the modern bracelet, but that same case design, right? And with the Submariner in red on the dial. And hey, to really be cool, I'd make it a 660 foot. I'd make it a 200 meter, right? So that way you can make it even thinner, right? You can make it thinner on the wrist, sapphire crystal, everything. Can you imagine how that sucker would sell? Can you imagine how they would line up to buy that sucker? That would be pretty freaking amazing. That would be pretty freaking amazing if you ask me. Not that you did ask me, but there you go. I'm pretending like you asked me. Let's see. Megan's in the house, and she says, hey, Craig. Hey, Megan. Craig, is it time to buy Amazon stock since the FAA approved the use of drones to deliver packages? The way some of these stocks have gone up lately, I'm not a buyer right now. I think there could be a big pullback. You know, what's his name? Warren Buffett has sold a lot of his stocks. He's got a lot of money on the sidelines, I've heard. So that might tell you something. Joe's in the house. Yep, I tried it. Very well made, but the height just didn't sell with me. It feels too top heavy. Okay, got you. Let's see here. And Carlos says hello at Megan. And Megan says, hey, hands, knees, and toes. Okay. Carlos, hi. Okay. Craig, sending you a link of my friend's Sea Dweller 40 millimeter. Okay, we'll take a look. Trump 2020 says the fake Clivester. Who's Saffron? I agree. Okay. You got it, Megan. Hans. Craig, would you ever buy a GMT root beer? That's the rose gold, right? So no. The answer would be no on that. Megan says, clever girl. Well, Rolex did take the day date from 41 millimeter back down to 40 millimeter, so it's not like they haven't sized back their watch. And they also fixed the case. Remember they had that day date, what did they call it? What was the day date called that had the funky looking, day date 2 or something? And remember they did the same thing with the date just. They had a screwed up date just, and they did the same thing. They backpedaled on that, right? So absolutely they've backpedaled before. Wasn't it called the date just 2 or something where they had they funkied up the case? What am I supposed to be looking at here? Okay, here's Sea Dweller pre-ceramic. Give me a second here. Okay. Yeah, these are nice. My cousin had a Sea Dweller with the drilled lugs and everything. They're cool watches. I think they're cool watches. Absolutely. That's a good-looking piece. That really is. Abso-positively-lutely. Yep. Good-looking piece. Yeah, heavy-duty sport watch. Heavy-duty sport watch. I preferred a GMT2 because I wanted something a little trimmer on the wrist. But yeah, that is a stunner alert. Okay. Well, Rolex. Okay, that nostalgia. It ain't what it used to be, Mark. Craig, you're right. My sub looks great on the wrist, but the case makes it mediocre comfortable. What is the meaning of a stunning, do you mean woman, what is the meaning of a stunning woman that cannot make coffee? Okay. So in other words, a stunning woman has to also be good at things. Oh, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. But I don't drink coffee, so coffee's a non-problem for me. She doesn't have to be able to make coffee for me. I'm not a coffee guy. I couldn't imagine spending money on coffee. There's other things I can spend my money on that I think make a lot more sense than coffee. Let's see. Cheetown's in the house. Date 8-2 and Date Just 2 both had those overly fat bezels, fat lugs, and oversized markers, says Cheetown. Cheetown calling it the way he sees it. Oh, boy. I love it. This channel has transparency. This channel has transparency. That's what it has. You see that little bug in the upper right-hand corner, briefitdance.com, briefitdance.com. Go there and follow her, and you check out her latest video, her latest dance video. It was awesome, her hoop dance video. She's getting good. She's getting good at it, I'm telling you. Let's see. My friend uses his sea dweller for heavy use purposes. He believes that manly men wear their Rolexes as tools. Well, that's a good-looking watch, too. I mean, that makes sense to wear that. Absolutely. It's a good-looking piece. I think the red sub's better looking, the one I just showed you a little while ago. I think it's even a nicer case design. But, yeah, both are very nice. Yes, the Date 8-2 and Date Just 2 look like fake watches with the oversized bezel. And let's see, Kyle says, we have to remember that before the 1990s, there was no Yachtmaster. They now must do things to differentiate the two. Those that are looking for a more flowing K-ship can opt for the Yachtmaster. Yes, they should. You know what the rumor on the Yachtmaster was? That they came out with that watch, that it was a redesign of the Submariner, and that they were going to use that as basically the replacement of the Submariner. But then they got cold feet at the last minute or something, and for whatever reason decided to just roll it out as a different model. But that's the rumor. Have you guys heard that? That was actually going to replace the Sub. And then they decided not to do it and to instead roll it out as a separate model. Can anybody confirm that? I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. Let's see here. Let's see. Jaden says, yes, the Date 8-2 looks like a knockoff. Cheetown, that watch next to the Sea Dweller is his Oyster Perpetual 39 white dial. There you go. Yeah. And Tim's in the house. Good point, Kyle. There is still a lot of choice. Mr. Q says, hi, y'all. Still in Portland, waiting for Rolex store to get looted, or should I head to, I don't know where Track is to get a Sub. Okay. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to be able to get the new Subs anytime soon. Don't think that's going to happen. By the way, let's get a peek at the 002 from underneath the wrist. There's the 002 Stunner. Let's take a look here. It's just amazing the way that puppy plays with the light. It's just... Talk about a watch that's absolutely comfortable on wrist and absolutely a joy to wear. It is the 002, folks. The 002. Let's see. That's correct. The original Yachtmaster was a Submariner concept, and the name was recycled from an early pre-Daytona Cosmograph. Okay. Well, I'm glad they kept it because it's a hell of a nice piece. Paul D. says, hi, everyone. It's a good day to be a Hulk owner. For one, the new Kermit looks awful, and secondly, Hulk prices have gone through the roof now. Well, I would cash in. If I owned one, I would cash in on the mania. Absolutely. Art's in the house. Rolex's charm is finished Now it's a petrol magnate's watch. Okay. Kyle's in the house. That's my take, at least. They are keeping the sub more angular, as Craig has pointed out. There you go. The 928 was supposed to replace the 911, the Yachtmaster of German car. Interesting point. Interesting point. Similar parallel universe, right? I'll tell you, the early 928s, when they first came out, they were a blast. They really were. They were something. Let's see. Do you and Steve use the same AD? You mean Rolex AD? I think there's another AD closer to Steve than my AD. I'm pretty sure there is. I'm pretty sure there are probably a couple of them closer to him than my AD. Yeah, because he's like an hour and 15 minutes from me, hour and 20 minutes from me. Cheetown's in the house. Craig, have you seen the gold Sky Dwellers on those ugly rubber straps? Reminds me of the MGBs in 1974 rubber bumper. I agree. I don't get that whole rubber strap thing on an expensive watch. I just don't get it. I would do a full pass on that. Did a new day date come? No. Nothing. No new day dates, unfortunately. Nope. Oh, by the way, related point. We got some folks watching. Maybe somebody can chime in with an answer. These new solid gold Submariners, the all gold, yellow gold Submariners, the bluesy and the one with the black dial and black bezel, do those have ceramic sleeves now in the center links on those gold bracelets? From what I understand, Rolex started with that on the Day-Date 40, right? And then they rolled it into the Day-Date 36, and from what I understood, they were planning on rolling it into other gold, solid gold models. Does anyone know if they did that on the new subs that are gold? Did they put those ceramic sleeves in there? Because I wouldn't be a player on one of those watches if they didn't, because that's a great improvement. Because remember, if you've got a fixed screw, if you've got a screw going through that bracelet and screwed into the far link, right? So therefore that screw is fixed in place. It cannot rotate. It cannot freewheel, right? Remember, the pin and collar system that Grand Seiko uses in that watch, it can freewheel. That pin can freewheel, right? So that cuts back on wear and tear. What Rolex did to solve that problem with the Day-Date 40 was a ceramic sleeve in the middle of that center link that goes through that center link. So that screw goes through the ceramic sleeve, and the screw can be fixed, but that sleeve can rotate, can freewheel, right? And allow that bracelet center link to flex and not wear against the screw, right? Which is what causes the bracelet stretch. So I'm wondering if they rolled that improvement into these new Submariners. Does anybody know that? Does anybody know that? I've checked, no new dials on the Day-Date 36, says Carlos. Rubber straps on gold watches trigger my gag reflex. I agree. I absolutely agree. All right, it's 5:56 p.m. If we wrap the show, then Rolex will release some more models. What do you think? As soon as I wrap, they're going to release the a limited edition red sub, right, with the retro case and everything. As soon as I wrap the show, that's how that whole thing works. Trashy Larry's in the house. Nothing triggers my gag reflex after what I've witnessed. And Trashy Larry says, evening to Lance. All right, get in your last minute questions and comments, because I'm going to wrap this puppy up. I'm getting hungry. Getting hungry in the house. Let me see if there's anything else I can show here before I wrap this puppy up. I'm going to show a few more things here, because I can. Let's go to, let's show this one. How do you like that? That was the old 005. That was a stunner. It's down the road. There's the 002 on sleeve with French cuffs. That was with the original brown strap that came with the 002. And here it is in the light a little bit, showing off that dial, that stunning dial. And there it is out in the sun. Look at that. Look at that sun, that starburst on that gold. Look at that. You guys want rose gold. Are you guys freaking crazy? Yellow gold all the way, folks, every single time. Every single time, go for the yellow gold. And there it is again with an alligator belt. And there's the Mid-Atlantic TV bug in the upper right-hand corner. And there is the Date 8. Date 8, Derek. And there's the gold money clip with it. The custom-made gold money clip that every gentleman should have. There's another shot of the Date 8. And there's a 231 macro shot. There's another 231 macro shot. And there's a little treasury bug in the upper right-hand corner. What do you think, little treasury? There's Steve with the faux pay bracelet on and the 002 on wrist. Looks great on Steve. And there's the lovely Brianna, briefitdance.com. Briefitdance.com. She loves purple. And there's the Mid-Atlantic TV bug in the upper right-hand corner. What do you think? And there's the sub, no date sub, super case. There's the red sub again. And there's the red sub side view. And let's go back to, let's put the Brief It Dance bug back up. There we go. Okay, so there's some stills for you using the media player here that's built into this software. Let's see. Okay. Derek says there are 55 people in here. No, we're down to 50 now. The new one, 218238. Okay. I heard a 42 millimeter Daytona is coming. Let's see. Notice the Date 836 has no loom on any of the dials. Let's see. Tomorrow I will be flying back to Panama. I will be wearing the mask continuously for around 15 hours. Oh my goodness. How can this end, Craig? Please, Derek. Hey, Derek, I just showed a Date 8. Have a safe trip, Carlos, says the lovely Brianna. See, she's so thoughtful. She's absolutely adorable. The lovely Brianna. Life's too short for ladies not to be adorable and very classy. That's what I say. Ladies should be adorable and should be classy. Kyle's in the house. Breathe, Carlos. Yellow gold or no gold, says Chi Down. Tim's in the house. At least you can travel, Carlos. Here down under, we can't go anywhere, even with a mask. Oh boy, what do they do? Shoot you if you go out in the streets? Derek's in the house. That is beautiful, just beautiful. How Scott says, how are you, my friend? Craig, my friend, how are things? Says Scott. We're doing good. And Carlos says, I'm looking forward to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Yeah, but you've got a nice place, Carlos. Come on, first world problems. You've got a nice place. Art Blend is in the house. I heard a plastic sub on rubber is coming in 2021. Poor Carlos, says Stig. I think he's flying on a private jet. I don't think he wants to admit it. I think he's flying private. That's my guess there. He kind of rolls that way. G-Town says, the suffering you have to go through for your jet-setting lifestyle, Carlos, be safe. Put the face condom on, Carlos. And he's laughing out loud. Trashy Larry says, got to protect all holes. Oh, well. Lance hit Trashy Larry with a wrench. What a way to end the show. It's 6:02 p.m., folks. 6:02 p.m. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Be sure to go to briefitdance.com, briefitdance.com, and follow the young lady. That's what I say. Follow her. And now I can figure out how to stop this broadcast. It's not easy. It is not easy to do here. Go to output, and we go